Are you listening? Damn.
All right. Another episode of Inside the Trash Can. Tonight we have Coty Milhausen is joining us again for the first time in a while. First time as a judge also. Trash Talk is brought to you again by Valhalla Combat Sports Incorporated, Ink Shrinks Tattoo out in New Brighton, Minnesota, and Mile High CBD. And I may have forgotten to introduce TJ O'Connor, everybody. He's always with me. How you doing tonight, Cody?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Feeling pretty good.
Oh, doing well. A little bit of a travel day getting back after those fights last night, but it was good seeing you boys in person.
Yeah. It's nice finally meeting you.
Yeah.
So for the people that don't know, Coty Milhausen was an undefeated amateur fighter, retired with the belt, decided that he wasn't number one, decided that he wasn't done with the game of MMA completely, stepped in as a judge. And this is one of the things that I love as the sport of MMA is developing and growing. Fighters getting into the commission side and the judging side and the reffing side, because I'm maybe a little bit biased. There are some great refs and judges out there that have never actually competed, but it's just I respect somebody's decision so much more when they actually were in there. And to see that you're making the transition, Cody, is pretty fucking amazing. And how's it been going so far?
It's I enjoy it. I mean, hell, you get into the fights for free, get to sit cage side and decide who fights or who wins. I mean, don't get no better than that. I mean, other than fighting yourself, I guess.
And I feel like that's the best answer, because that's one of the things I wanted to touch on what Damien's saying is you see guys that have fought or, competed or even just simply trained, becoming more judges, more referee, in behind the scenes. And what that is it's the passion. And, I can definitely see it. The conversations we've had, you generally do love this sport. And I feel like you're bringing the passion you had for competition into judging as well. And I couldn't be more excited when we first spoke to you and you mentioned this was something that you were going to look to do. And now here we are almost 6 months later. You've had that experience. You mentioned some of the perks. I mean, it can't be that glamorous, right? I mean, it's a tough job, right?
Yeah, real tough, especially when you're getting bled on, and in between rounds.
Oh my God. That was some crazy fights that went on this past weekend. I mean, we'll get into that a little bit more later, but but sitting cage side, enjoying the fights, that's something that me and TJ are lucky enough to start benefiting because we're doing Trash Talk now, to be able to sit cage side at a lot of these fights without having to be in the fighter's corner. And man, it's so amazing. And it's like, this is what I do this stuff for. I would do this for free. And now it's like, okay, well, get a little bit of perk in there. And then I get to enjoy doing what I like to do anyway, which is watching some fights,
I always catch myself trying not to coach or cheer in between rounds, especially this last one. We got all these start guys in there. It's like, your teammates or your former teammates. And, you want them to win and you got to keep a tight lip.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one of the things, especially in the MMA community. When you break it down to just the Minnesota MMA community, it's a very small, tight-knit community. So for someone who has trained at, some of the best gyms, fought guys who train some of the best gyms, have you seen those connections? Have they tapered in, or like you said, is it one of the things where you have to mentally block all that out, when you go up there, even at the provisional level where you are now?
Yeah, you got to block it out a little bit. I mean, I try to get there early and get all my BS out of the way, and so I'm not so lopsided during the judging part. It's hard, because you got certain guys you want to win, but you got to judge it. If you want to keep doing the job, then you gotta call it fair, and
exactly.
I try to get all that stuff out of the way, and I am fair. I'm not, even if I'm a teammate, I had a teammate this last fight that lost a round, and I
you have to call it
from him. I mean,
you have to call it how it is. And one of the things about judging, and then also having a teammate, because I've judged only kickboxing exhibition kickboxing matches, mind you, nothing as far as your level. I'm not trying to say that I'm as great of a judge as Coty Milhausen or anything like that, but but I had a little bit of experience in it, and when it's somebody that you know personally going in there, it's hard not to want to show bias, but it's going to be so clear when you do. And that's what makes it, you have to look at it clear and cut and dry. And I mean, if you, I mean, it's hard to explain to people that haven't actually fought or don't actually know what we're talking about when it comes to judging. But there's a part of you that wants the guy to win, but you know what happened.
Yeah,
you know? I mean, and
I want to keep doing it. I don't. I get caught smudging a number one way or something. All that's gonna end fast.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, you had to give you had to say a teammate lost a round. I mean, a former teammate, or if you're still training, sorry, but like that is difficult to do. But I mean, it's the truth of what happens, and man, and having unbiased judging is going to be a huge part too, because some of the unexperienced judges just kind of like look away and they look back, remember that one guy's name, and it's like, oh, well, he looked aggressive for a second, and they just, because of they know his name more than the other guy, they give him the round. And it's like, you look at the end, it's like, did they even watch it?
Yeah, I definitely understand that, and it's kind of the same, but obviously different. With what we're doing here in Trash Talk. Obviously, we have connections. We know people on a personal level here, but all we can do is just call it how you see it. And like I said, obviously, when it comes to judging and actually scoring the fight, much more different than talking to guys, breaking down the fight, after the fact. But just keeping that level of unbiased, even when, like I said, there might be factors into it, and you have to play those out, and that's where the love of the passion comes in, and just calling a fight, how it happens, like you said. And
6 total fights. There were 6 total fights tonight. I mean, a few fell through, and we'll get into that a little bit more. We're gonna have some other interviews with other fighters where their fights fell through and just how they feel about it, and maybe even some call outs. Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see. And then, but the fights that did go down, they were pretty exciting. You mentioned having blood squirted on us, because I got some on me. Dude, when Noah threw that kick the first time, and I seen it hit him hit his opponent right under the knee, I thought it was just going to hurt his foot. He throws it again in the exact same spot, and I'm like, maybe he's not hurt, but that has to hurt. It has to. And then it started bleeding, and it was just pouring out. What were you guys? Did you guys think that they were going to stop the fight right then, or did you? I mean, they obviously did, but what was going through you guys' mind when that was going down?
Man, my first thought, like you said, bleeding. Bleeding is, I don't even know if that's the right word. This
Gushing,
was it was pumping blood. Like the fact how much blood got on the mat in that little amount of time was crazy. The thing about it, and my first reaction though, is at no point did it seem to phase Noah. He kept throwing big punches. He was looking to secure a takedown and get the fight. And ultimately it was that lull against the cage which allowed Chris to stop the fight and bring the doctor in. And from what I've heard afterwards, that a vein actually ruptured in his foot. I feel like it was the right call to stop it, because that blood was coming out quick. If you haven't seen the picture on the Trash Talk page of the canvas, this is a black canvas and it was painted red. It was quite the visual.
Yeah, his foot was right up by my face, and and I was watching it, and there was like a 4 or 5 inch stream coming consistently out of his foot, and there was like chunks coming out of it, and I remember looking up at Chris, and he's like, he didn't know whether because something they were close to a takedown there. It's like, oh, you don't want to stop it, and it's a transition like that. But I was like, just stop it. He stopped it. I mean, at that rate, how fast he was bleeding, I mean, by the end of the round, he had been lightheaded, and I mean, it was coming so fast. But he was a warrior. He got pushing through.
Yeah, because he was going to continue fighting, which is, I mean, that's impressive right there. Yeah. But I got a question, just as a judging and commission standpoint, because I actually don't know this. So the fight, it was ruled a loss for him, but because it came so early in the first round, would it get turned over to a no contest eventually if he tried to contest it? Because man, that sucks so much to have a loss on your record. And then also, I don't want to take away a win from his opponent, but that's unfortunate. And I feel like it shouldn't give either guy a win or a loss. That's just my opinion, but I'm kind of tough when it comes to those things. I don't know. How would that play out?
I don't know how it would work exactly, but you know, you see people get cuts on their face and stuff, and it gets called off, and they get a loss. It's kind of the same concept, I would think, but
that makes sense. Actually,
luckily it's at the amateur level. I mean, if you're pro, and you know you're trying to get your record ready to make the UFC or Bellator, that would suck, you know. But an amateur, you'll be back and bounce back, and people can see it. You know, sucks, but you know, move on.
I didn't even think of it like that. I mean, cuts on the face, it gets stopped, it's over. Yep. I mean, boom, there's the answer.
And it's kind of like as tough as Noah was and as tough as his foot was, you have to give a shout out to Cole's knee because you know that's what inflicted the cut. And
he got
stopped the fight. Yeah, that was one of the things that I was going to touch on. Is I was talking to one of the commissioners, and we all know him, a gentleman called TC, great guy. After the fight, right before the main event. And I was asking him, you know, when we're going to get started. He said, oh, the doctor just got done stitching. And I was like, oh, did they have to – I was like, how'd they stitch up his foot? That's going to be hard. You know, there's not a lot of skin there. And he goes, well, no, they were stitching up the other kid. He had a gash where he was telling me you could see into his bone. You could see his knee bone from the gash, from the collision.
He kicked him that – wow, I didn't even know that part.
Yeah.
Where was I?
That was actually right after we threw trash talk shirts into the crowd, and there was a gentleman who wanted one who did not receive one. So Damian, being the mensch he is, literally gave this gentleman the shirt off of his back. And then I actually had that conversation with TC while you were getting the new trash talk shirt. One of the ones, I might add, the original edition.
Hell yeah.
And Cole was cool enough to say he'd like to run it back again. You know, it was unfortunate, and but at least he's a good opponent. He says he wants, you know, that was a good fight for both of those guys, and
it really was. And I feel like, and I think we played victim to it here. Is the blood is going to take the story of that fight. But that was a good fight working out anyways. One of the things about Cole, I was really impressed with his boxing. He came out, he was staying behind a crisp jab. And like I said, obviously the fight itself, I mean, it lasted just over a minute, if that. So there wasn't a lot there. But if they're interested in running that fight back once Noah's foot's healthy, that's a fight that I think I'd be interested in getting both guys on Trash Talk to talk about, just because that's a different dynamic.
Hell yeah. And I would love to be their cage side again. Hopefully I get less blood on me this time.
Yeah. But Cole's been, from what I've been hearing from the guys, obviously I haven't been up there, but he's been spending a lot of time in that boxing gym. Yeah. And you've seen it. I mean, southpaw, he's got some hands. You know, he's a good grappler too. I've grappled with him before at Spartans, and he's a good grappler too. So, you know, pretty well-rounded fighter. So
yeah. Another guy I was really impressed with that night was Colin Hawk body. Man, he looked pretty exhausted, but it didn't show while he was performing, only in between rounds. Yeah. It's like in between rounds, it looks like he was, you know, he looked like he was breathing hard. It looked like he was going to come out and just kind of like relax and just not do anything. But then he comes out, gets a takedown, and starts just dominating the fight. I mean, I was really impressed by him. And I mean, I don't know if after the fight, I started thinking like maybe he was pretending like he was tired in between rounds to throw his opponent off. Like that.
No one was sparring him. I mean, I haven't trained with him a whole lot other than just sparring, but he's always kind of got that look where he looks tired, but all of a sudden he pops you and then takes you down, and you know, it's like, oh, where'd this come from? But I keep saying that's the best Colin we've seen. He looked great. He looked very good.
I agree that was by far the best Colin Hawk body we've seen thus far. He's on a 4-fight winning streak now. Made a big call out after the fight, which I was impressed by. Mentioned he would like to fight Tim Hiley. That's a fight that would be, you know, insane. Obviously, 2 of the top 185 prospects that are unsigned in the Midwest. I mean, that fight happens. Someone wins that fight, they're getting a call from the next level. And then the fact that Colin's looking for those fights, calling his shot, I mean, that was great. And like Damian mentioned, this was a strong performance. His top game, I mean, going against a guy like Clarence Jordan, who is a really good wrestler, Colin didn't stop at all. I mean, he came in, took him down, rode mount, was very dominant, and then was able to get the finish. That was the thing is, as the fight progressed, he seemed to just get it a little bit more and was able to dig deeper, and then get that finish. And, that was a strong performance. Great fight. Speaking of great fights, can we talk about Joey Hart for a second? Because Joey Hart, he came out throwing bombs, and I had a chance to talk to him after the fight. He wanted to focus on his strike, and he was telling me, he was like, man, he goes, I'm obviously going to take a submission if I get it, but I really wanted to let my hands go. And then the guy gave him a submission, and he put him to sleep.
Yeah, dude, that was. Oh, okay. This is another question that I got too, because if somebody taps out, they just call it a submission. Anytime the last 2 times that I've seen a guy actually go completely out, they've called it a technical submission.
Yeah.
Is that because they don't tap? Is that why? Is that the difference?
Yeah, if the ref stops it. Yeah.
Okay.
Just be like KO,
Okay, so if the ref thinks that was Robbie Lawler's a technical submission, him versus Ben Askren, or was that because he didn't tap?
He didn't tap. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just that's me. Just okay. Now we can move on.
The ref stops the fight.
Yeah. Oh, okay, and then the way he put him down. I mean, props to Joey because his opponent did fall. When you choke a guy out, they're limp. They're gonna fall. But he could have just let him drop and slam and hit his head really, really hard. But he didn't. That was pretty courteous for just choking a guy unconscious. It's pretty nice about it.
Hey, that guy took it like a man, dude. He didn't tap. He went out like a man. Yeah. I give him props for that.
Yeah.
But Joey,
sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, look, I saw that it was deep right away. I think I was saying to TJ as it was sinking in, you think he's gonna tap, or I think he's gonna tap, and I don't know what TJ said back to me. I can't remember right now, but it looked really deep to me. And then he's fallen, he's out.
Yeah.
And
against the cage, and perfect.
From the angle I was at, you could actually see because he was kind of turning his head, and I was looking into his face, and I just seen his eyes. And I was like, oh, okay, this fight's over. And luckily there was an experienced referee like Rob Madrigal, coming from Chicago, who has reffed main events in the UFC before, so he was able to notice he was out and, put a stop to the fight.
Yeah.
And then
I give Joey some props. He noticed he's struggling with wrestlers.
Yeah.
And that's all he wants to fight right now. That's what he wants to work on. He wants to beat wrestlers. That's a game he needs to work on before he goes pro. And you can see it. I mean, he's just been fighting wrestler after wrestler after wrestler, trying to fix that hole in his game. And has a strong performance against a good wrestler. I mean, that was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Very strong turnaround.
It's hard to go, and it's easy to. You can go find strikers, and just fight strikers all the time, and and pad your record or whatever. But he's seen a hole in his game, and he's trying to fix it, and before he goes to the next level, and I give him props for that. That's not easy,
It's one of those things. It's different than just training with a bunch of wrestlers and bringing guys into the camp and stuff, because that's not going to show on your record every time that you lose to them in the gym. This is real baptism under fire. You're going against somebody who's a wrestler, and you've been struggling against wrestlers, and it's going against in the live situation. And honestly, I think it's really smart of him to get this done as an amateur too. I mean, because once you go pro, you could have a dominating amateur career, but once you go pro, it doesn't count, which sucks because I actually with Troy Jones, we were talking with him on the European circuit. They count your record as a whole, amateur and pro, which I kind of like because it gives you a little bit more insight in the depth of somebody's record and their experience. But once you do go pro, that's when it really counts. So it's almost as if the amateurs is practice for when you go pro, and he's totally taking advantage of that.
Yeah, he's working hard. I remember even last year when we were still training, or even the year before, and it's just me and him. And I coach wrestling, and he's coming into the wrestling room and wrestling with us. I mean, he's been working real hard at it, and you see it. It's he's getting better at it, and I give him a lot of props for that. He's You know, moved up to St. Cloud to train with wrestlers all day. I mean, that's, you know, he's improving.
Yeah. Joey's really going about it the right way. He's one of the true prospects in this this sport, and I'm excited that even with all the experience he has, he's not in a hurry. He's a young guy. He understands that he just wants to fight everybody before he goes pro, like Damian mentioned. And I mean, you mentioned baptism under fire. One of the fights I wanted to touch on was, my opinion, the fight of the night. Max Bradley versus Takeouts. Now,
I wanted to get into that when you stole it from me.
I'm sorry, but that was a crazy fight. And now I'm going to be honest. I like to pretend like I know everything, and that there's not a prospect that's going to sneak by me that I haven't heard of. But McCoy Takeouts, that kid impressed the hell out of me last night. He went against number 6 ranked guy in the state on a 2-fight winning streak, trains at one of the best gyms under Brock Larson. And, man, that was a close fight. The crowd was into it. Couple huge slams. I couldn't have been more impressed with this kid. As soon as his music hits, literally half the building behind me erupts. And I remember just looking at Damian and going, what do we got right here? Because, who is this kid? And, man, he introduced.
We know now.
Yeah. We know now. Showed a lot of heart. You know. Yeah. And Max, you know, he flew in that night. And asked if he wanted to fight. Yeah. He's like, I want to fight. Oh.
At midnight, flies in, comes in, makes weight, fights, wins. I mean, and looked really impressive. I was really impressed by his pressure. And, I mean, it just shows, like, I mean, even where he's at right now, you can still tell, like, the mental growth and everything in his game is there, because he was able to – I mean, he was staying right at his range where he wanted to be, where he's able to land punches, trying to avoid the takedowns. He fought really smart and technical, and also really aggressive too. I mean, you saw everything out of him.
Yeah, he kept the pressure on him, picked his shots. You know, can't just come screaming on a wrestler. You know, you seen the first round, he got doubled across the octagon, but, you know, second, third, he regained himself and, you know, brought it to him and picked his shots and wasn't too aggressive and came out with a good win against obviously a kid was very quality. I mean, he's a very game opponent. Let's say that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's definitely on the radar now for Trash Talk, and it was an impressive performance by Max on 24 hours notice. That's so fucking crazy. I'm gonna assume that he had a few drinks while he was out in Vegas. You know, You know,
I was talking to him after fights. He's like, "Yeah, I didn't feel the greatest. You know, I had a few drinks down in Vegas, and I could feel it during the fight. You know, I just didn't have that energy behind me. But I was like, oh, geez, he came through it and looked good.
Hey,
you know, had a rough first round, but he came back strong. Good second, good third.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Third where he got taken down, and he's still hunting for submissions. I mean, had a leg triangle hooked up. Then he was going for a Darce, you know, still trying to finish the fight, you know, even after getting taken down.
Yeah. No, it was a really impressive fight from both of them. Super close decision, but he was able to pull it off. And it was, I mean, you can't, both guys should walk away satisfied from that fight. One of the fight of the nights, you know, and then we got Cartwheel champion of the world. I'm sorry, can you guys hear me? I think I'm cutting out right now.
Yeah, you're kind of cutting out. I think you're back here now. And I know you wanted to get to the main event, and I do, because that was a great fight. But I do want to give one last shout out to another guy that really put his name out there last night, and that's Jose Cheeto Joe Rodriguez. That kid, Jesus, man.
I said I wasn't going to forget, and I almost did.
Yeah, no, I've heard the name through the amateur boxing. You know, I'm friends with Tony Gergelko. I've seen him posting before, and I've also heard that, you know, he's a high-level wrestler. Went down and wrestled at Iowa Central, which, you know, wrestling fans know is probably the top junior college program in the country. Yeah. And, you know, he was competing down there. So he came in again. I mean, I said McCoy Takeouts brought half the building. I'm pretty sure Cheeto Joe brought the other half of the building. went down when he came out. Dominant first round finish. And then what about the promo on the microphone? I mean, the kid, he can already talk as well. He gets it. I mean, I think he's the real deal. That's a guy I definitely want to reach out to and get on Trash Talk here very soon.
We have to have him on. We have to.
All I got to say is that 155-pound division, you better watch out. He's here to make a splash, I think.
Yeah.
There's a new kid on the block, and oh, my God, he's scary.
And his name's Jose
He's
Rudd.
scary.
So, It was at 55, right?
He weighed 160, but I'm assuming he's going to be weighing
60. But
yeah. And let's get to the
now we're getting onto the cartwheel champion of the world. So that fight, man, Bobby Lee showed a lot of heart and a lot of intelligence when he was on the ground, because he was in some bad positions, but he was able to avoid almost all of the damage, and that's veteran ability right there.
Yeah. Just staying patient. Again, just picking his shots. You could see him setting up submissions. I seen at the end when he hit that Kamara, he was just touching the guy's arm, see what he would do. And also he just sneaks the other arm over and, rolls him through and then into a head arm. He just baiting the guy, he wasn't just jumping to the submissions, baiting him, setting out nice and slow, wasn't in any panic, being patient. I think that helped him a lot there.
Yeah,
and it was nice to see him get the submission win, and very impressively at his first main event too. And I actually didn't know that was his first main event. Me and TJ had touched on it before, where he's been fighting at LFA and RFA. I mean, RFA, LFA, before they became LFA and everything. But he was fighting for them his whole career, and I'm like, okay, that's why he was never a main event, because he's a main event fighter,
Yeah.
And he proved it last night.
Definitely.
Yeah, the guy he fought was very game. I think he was 5 pounds heavier. Didn't he weigh in at 165? Bobby weighed in at 160.
Yeah, there was
strong Russ.
Yeah, there's a little bit of controversy that went on between that and I don't know. We're kind of hearing a little bit more and more on this, and we'll probably have another episode about all of that, because it's going to be its own topic, But there was some, I don't know, just claiming that each contract said a different weight and things like that, which is very confusing. It's like, oh my God, somebody got messed over, or somebody's lying.
Yeah.
But the fight happened. It worked out for Bobby, and yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of snafu there with the weight cut, and I'm glad that it was figured out and that the fight did happen. And one of the things that really impressed me most is the evolution of Bobby Lee's striking game. He's getting so much more calm, obviously working with the guys at the cellar. I see videos and pictures of him working with Nate Richardson, who right now is in Bosnia competing for Team USA. So, high level training partners. And it showed. He was so calm. His shots are firing. His opponent, Shaw, shot on him. I didn't see that. But he shot on him, was able to secure the takedown. Didn't see that coming. But he, like you mentioned, he was very game. Trains at a very good gym out of Michigan. And he was staying on top of Bobby, so composed. And he was almost like you mentioned, he was setting up a trap. He was just waiting. The second he got that sweep, he jumped over into that arm triangle, and the squeeze from Bobby Lee, that choke couldn't have been in for more than 3 seconds before that hand started tapping. I don't want to get squeezed. I don't want that squeeze.
There's 16 seconds left. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the things. I heard the corner yell, "Don't worry, 20 seconds left." And then he started squeezing, and then the fight was done 3-4 seconds later. A nasty squeeze, and then Bobby Lee gets up, and we touched on it. Did he even touch his hand? I'm pretty sure he did a no-handed cartwheel. His finger might have grazed the bottom of the mat, maybe. And, he was definitely feeling it. He definitely earned it. It was a strong performance, a great bounce back for Bobby. I touched on this last night on the commentary. It seems like it's something we do I guess, as media, I guess you could say, is when a fighter fights and has a good performance, you instantly want to see him fight again. And it's like, I want you to have your moment. Go have a cheat day, relax. But I can't wait to see what Bobby Lee does next, because he's only getting better. I mean, Bobby Lee, he's so young and he's improving every single fight. Man.
Yeah. He's got an impressive record. I mean, I'm just waiting for someone to sign the guy already. I mean,
exactly. He mentioned after the fight, he was ready for the Contender Series. Dana White, where you at, bro?
Yeah, exactly. Let's go. Give him a shot.
Yeah, it would be pretty sweet to see him up there because he's more than deserving of it, and he's one of the guys that I believe can actually make Minnesota MMA look good. Well, I mean, he has been, but on the UFC level as well. That'd be pretty sweet. And then, so wrapping up all the fights and stuff, after the night was said and done, what were you thinking? Did you enjoy the night just sitting back, judging and watching the fights? And there was a few finishes, so you didn't really have to do too much those rounds. Or, I mean, I guess you do. But how were you feeling during it?
It was crazy how many people were there for 6 fights. And some of the big name wrestlers that were there. I mean, Shakafi's assistant coach, Lazur. I don't know how to say his name exactly.
Is it Lazar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Gable Stevenson was there. I mean, Jesus, don't get any bigger than that. I mean, for Minnesota wrestling, I mean, all the wrestling fans I've seen Apple Valley jackets everywhere. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I know. I see Marcus Levasseur there somewhere as well, talking about.
Oh, really? He was there?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I didn't. Wow. I would have said, "What's up?"
Behind me.
Yeah. He was right behind us. I don't know how you didn't see him.
Dude,
yeah. I talked to him for a little bit there.
Am I retarded?
You might be. But no, just I'm gonna answer the question that you asked, Cody, because I felt like it was a really great environment. The crowd was into it. I touched on, I mean, at one point there was a legit bullshit chant going in the crowd, and we're talking about a WWF level bullshit chant in the crowd.
Everybody.
And that was the second fight of the night. I mean, the crowd was there, ready to go. I mean, that, like I said.
Dude, the Myth is the livest place to have fights, I believe, dude. It's just, I love that place. That venue is amazing. And sorry, TJ, I really didn't mean to cut you off, except I do it a lot. But dude, the venue at the Myth is just so amazing. And I think it adds to that atmosphere, why the crowd was feeling it so much, that. It was just amazing.
Yeah, it's something about being on top of the fights like that. I mean, we've all been to fights where, it's a great card, but unfortunately, the way it's laid out, you're 30 yards away. The fight goes to the ground. You're not really sure what's going on. The Myth is such an intimate environment. I mean, the people on the second floor at general admission seats, they're looking down on the fight. They could actually see more than maybe some of the people, that aren't there. So one of my favorite places, I hope to see more shows at the Myth. Because like I said, when we were coming up, they were always there, and that was my favorite place to go. And being there last night reminded me of why. I mean, it was truly a good night.
Yeah, it's a blast.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to being assigned to positions on what fights you're going to be judging, because there are some fights in Austin, I mean, up north, I mean, in the metro area, how is it decided who's judging where and when?
Well, Matt emails everybody, and then we just tell him if we're available or not, and then he picks picks whoever's going to do it. And I'm not sure how he does that. I guess it's only my second time, but I try to sign up for everyone I can. I live, close to the South Dakota border. I mean, I'm only half an hour from South Dakota pretty well. So it's a 2.5 hour drive for the closest venue for me, except Jackpot.
Yeah.
Next month.
Yeah.
That's an hour. Yeah. I gave Ben Pearson and Jeremy and Brock I used to sell pop and beer down there at Jackpot. And I got him the event coordinator, and it's like, well, someone get in here. I mean,
dude.
Yeah, it's an awesome it's an awesome place, and it's close to me.
Yeah, that makes it better.
You know, initially it's like, oh, I could fight. You know, that's close as it's gonna get for me. But yeah, that it's nice to see something close now. But yeah, finally we're getting in there next month, and excited.
Jackpot Junction. I would say Jackpot Junction is a great venue as well. I went to high school out in that area, similar to you. That was the spot to go. That was actually the very first live MMA fights I went to were at Jackpot Junction. So definitely brings back memories there. And I'm great to see such a show like Driller, which is, they bring great shows, they stack the cards, and that they're going to bring fights out to that area because those are some real fight fans. And if Driller brings a good card, I guarantee the fans are going to show up for that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to put on a good card. I mean, you got Pacheco fighting Sam Hernandez, and Juan Hernandez faces Boom Boom Jefferson. I mean, how much better is it? They're trying to make a statement. I mean, if this place don't sell out, I don't know what the hell.
I don't know how it's not. I don't know how it's not going to sell out. There's some amazing fights, and we're already on it. Like we got some interviews done and got reached out to some people. We're just waiting to post it. And dude, these are fights that if you're a fight fan.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, TJ. Yeah, I'm like if you're a fight fan, if you're in general, not just Minnesota MMA, but a fan of mixed martial arts as a whole, you're not going to want to miss this card. It's going to be amazing.
Let's sell this place out. Let's stay in Jackpot. That's what I'm thinking. Make a statement.
Oh, yeah.
They got burnt by King of the Cage a couple times, and so they were pretty skeptical, about letting someone new in there. And so I'm hoping this Driller show is very good, so we can keep having the fights there. It's only an hour drive for me, so
yeah. I trust Driller will get the job done. They're pretty professional. They do things by the book for the most part. So, I mean, and when I say for the most part, I'm like, they don't have the best tasting water. They need to have that trash talk water. They do. It'd be a whole lot better if they did.
It's refreshing and delicious. I wish I had a bottle right here for product placement, but
oh damn, I do, but it's really far away from me.
That's funny.
Damn it, I had it on purpose too. Shit.
But
fuck that up.
Just kind of going back to how you mentioned you try to sign up for every card. The position you're in right now, being a provisional judge, there's a certain requirement of amount of fights that you actually have to go to and attend before you're able to, go on and judge on your own. Where are you at in that process? Is that I'm assuming that's something that you're trying to get through as soon as possible.
Yeah. Well, we got he said that we're supposed to have 50 fights, so I'm just trying to get them in as fast as I can and make sure I do a good job and a thorough job, because I gotta score each round, and then I gotta put an explanation why I scored each round the way I did. And it's kind of tough. You only got a minute in between each round to write stuff, and yeah, I'm just trying to do a thorough job. Hopefully I can get it done faster. Maybe he sees I'm doing a good job and we can get it done faster in 50 fights. But as far as of now, he told me, 50 fights. So I'm not going very fast, because I think the last card had 8 fights. This one had 6. So it's going to take a couple of years at this rate.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. So I'm like, I could imagine he'd probably hate me as a judge or as a trainee, because if you have to write an explanation on why, I'd be like, he landed more or he looked better. Yeah. I don't know. I
try to make it simple. If someone won around, I try to just explain, well, he landed cleaner and maybe took him down. He had some ground and pound. He inflicted more damage.
Yeah, you only got a minute. I mean,
yeah.
To
people
judge
don't
it,
realize, the rules. They just adopted new rules, and I know that's why they were calling that bullshit chant or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not as much on control anymore, and it's more on damage and
Yep.
It's not on control. You can't just take a guy down and hold him down and expect to win anymore. You need to look to be finishing the fight, and that's what we're for. and things that impact the fight. I think impact's a good word.
Yeah. Me and TJ had spoke on that before too, where let's say control. Like if I take a guy down and I hold him down and I don't really land too much ground and pound or anything, I controlled him, yeah. And then now let's say bring it back to the feet. I'm walking him down and he's not really throwing any offense, and neither am I, but I'm walking him down the whole time and I keep cutting him off, but I never take advantage of it. I control that whole round. I might if he throws 2 punches back, I would, in my eyes, I would call me the loser in that round because I didn't throw any offense, you know. And I'm like, and the ground game is starting to be looked at that similarly. I mean, by the judges, not yet by the fans, obviously, but I think that it's catching up, and I think it's the right way to go. I mean, I was one of the guys that took advantage of this. Like when I would gas out, I'd take a guy down and I just lay there. Like, and I'd end up winning. I didn't.
Max Bradley, I mean, I like to use his fight. He did the exact what he's supposed to do. I mean, he got taken down and he's still hunting for submissions, and the other guys just kind of laid on him. He was gassed, and that's what's winning Max those rounds, and that's what they're looking for. And they're mad. It's not wrestling. It's I mean, I'm a wrestler. I know. I want to take people down too, but gotta look to finish the fight. And Max was looking to finish the fight, and I think he did a good. That was a good blueprint for how to judge.
Yeah. Max did exactly what he was supposed to do. He showed up. He won the fight, and I had a chance to talk to him after the fight. And I asked him what he was, because he was just embracing when the crowd was going crazy chanting. He's just embracing it, and it's just
that was funny.
That's the best part about this game is invoking emotion, and that's the reason why you do it. Whether they're booing or not, they know who you are, and I guarantee those people at the end of the day, they're just supporting their friend, and you got to appreciate them for that. So I mean, your friend didn't win, but I mean he showed up dominant. I mean that like I said, I can't talk about how much I'm impressed by that kid. I mean, even just to fight a number 6 guy in his debut, the confidence level. So I'm excited to see him back again. But at the end of the day, that was Max Bradley's night, and Max Bradley got his hand raised.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so now we're getting to that point where we should probably start to wrap it up. But we're sitting at like 40 minutes, I think.
Holy shit.
But I exactly right. That's I just looked at the time and I'm like, man, we've been going. Like, dude, I love talking with you, dude. You're so cool. Like, it's just and it's nice having guys like we mentioned at the beginning, fighters that are transitioning into the commission and judging portion and reffing also and stuff like that. It's so nice to have that, and then also when we can sit down and have conversations about it because we're all fighters. We understand, and it's just we could talk. I could talk for days with you guys, man.
Yeah. I outside of the MMA world, some people don't, maybe I don't mesh with them, and I have a hard time talking to them. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm going to the fights this weekend. And they just, what the hell, and I feel like this MMA, especially here in Minnesota, we kind of got like a family, even guys that we fought, we just mesh, everybody gets along with everybody for the most part. And I just enjoy just going and talking and hanging out with people and talking and hanging out with you guys here. I mean, I sat right next to you guys for how many rounds?
Yeah.
And, it's a blast. I love to be a part. I love to be a part of it and, just be around.
Fighters being around fighters when we're not fighting is pretty fun if you,
Yeah.
So I always have a good time at the fights. And then now, oh my God, I missed. You were saying something about the stripper story. I missed out on that. What was going on? Okay, this might just be separate. I might just cut the video and not even add this and just save this for something else. I don't know, but like I want to hear that story because this is after we threw out the shirts, right? And I ran back to go get my. Sorry,
before.
What?
It was
before.
It was before that. It was right after. It was right after the Max Bradley fight, and they're like, "We're doing a 20-minute intermission," and we went and fucking ran outside, and then we came back.
We ran on an errand.
Yeah, and then we came back in, and fucking I sat back down, And Cody walks up and he goes, man, that stripper. He goes, where I live, we don't see shit like that. I was like, he goes, I don't know what the fuck was going on. And I was like, I just laughed because I was like, wow, I don't know. I didn't know what was going on. And then as the night progresses, I started hearing more and more about it. But I get a chance to watch the video, which we shared to the Trash Talk page with the commentary. And it's about the first 5 minutes. It starts off, there's a gentleman doing some breakdancing, and he's getting his shit. And
I skipped past that. I didn't even see that. I mean, I knew there was a guy dancing, but I skipped past the video just to the fights. I didn't see, dude. I still haven't seen it. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you again, but yeah, I didn't even see that part.
No, but you could watch the video. But he's in there dancing. All of a sudden, he's joined by a young lassie who isn't wearing a lot of clothes, and she decided to start dancing with him. And did she
take off anything, or was she like already like half naked?
She was already like that, I guess. I was wondering what the hell, because I was talking to Phip, because he was asking me how I was scoring fights and how it was going and all that. And all of a sudden, I'm talking to him, and I thought I seen something left, and it's like I'm looking, and what the hell? She is literally dancing like a stripper in there. I mean, just with the clothes on. I was like, what the? I mean, there's people's mothers in here. I could have seen if it was all guys or something, but I was telling my wife on the ride home, like, you would never guess what happened. I was like, he was literally in there.
Oh my God.
I'd never seen anything like that. I think it was just like, I don't know. I thought everybody just kind of laughed it off a little bit. I was just a little weird, I guess.
Yeah, like no one was expecting it. I didn't know how to feel.
I can't remember exactly who the promoter was, but there was a boxing show I went to up north, and they had a burlesque show in the intermission, and that was it was a little weird. So I mean, I've seen it before, but for the way it sounded, everybody was drinking at the nightclub. It seemed like it fit in for the most part, right?
Yeah, they had time. They had to fill some time, I guess. Kept the males entertained, I guess.
Yeah.
They maybe got a little drunk that night with their wives, but yeah.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah, man, that was weird. Because we're sitting cage side waiting for the next fight. Like, what? So they're both in there. It's like, what the hell? Jesus.
I mean, you got your scorecard in front of you. Like, am I supposed to be judging this right now? Who's doing better in the dance? Like,
I thought some of these judges were going to start throwing $1 bills through the cage.
Dude, if I was in there, I would have probably.
I was saying,
but I was running an errand at the time.
Yeah.
But oh my God, dude, I'm kind of disappointed that I missed that part. But I'm kind of glad that I wasn't there, because I still don't know how to feel about it. Whatever. I don't go to strip clubs. Like, it's not my scene. Like, I want a girl to dance on me for free, not for money, and I want it to be private. So
you didn't think you were gonna sit at Sniffer's Row. I mean, Jesus, it was. It was just weird.
Oh my God. All right. I think that's a perfect way to wrap it up. Oh my God. Coty Milhausen, it is always a fucking pleasure to have you on Trash Talk with us, man. And the fact that you're a fighter, going over to judging, becoming a part of the commission, man, I can't speak enough on it. And I just really appreciate you taking the time to be with us tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. I watch every episode, so I love it. I love keeping up with everybody. Some days it's hard. I have to go back and watch it, but
yeah.
Subscribe.
Right? Yeah, hell yeah.
Thank you, Cody. Again, man. Always a pleasure. It was great seeing you last night. Look forward to seeing you again here in the future. And that's the champ, man. Coty Milhausen turning into the champ judge. That's Damien. I'm TJ. This is Trash Talk. You heard him. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, I like Cody a whole lot more than that asshole Nick Palmer.
Fuck Nick Palmer.
Are you listening? Damn.